Put the hip shit on the shelf, cause the way the real wealth is being real with self. Might not haven't seen the glory of the government of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help. It's time to switch it up, put the hip shit on the shelf, cause the way the real wealth is being real with self. Might not haven't seen the glory of the government of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help. Money. All you have is not wrong with being wealthy. Like Kanye West said, having money is not everything, not having it is. No, Deuteronomy 8:18 says God gives us the ability to create wealth. No, it's the love of money that's the most. You don't want money so much, why do you get up and go to work for it? Like, don't think about one of the things that you think about. I'm just trying to leave a legacy for money. Not everything, but when you got it, you can do some cool stuff. Now, your host for Talking Money in the Morning, financial health mentor to the working class,
Good morning, good people. It is your main man, H. Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor to the working class, and you are checking out Talking Money in the Morning live. Welcome to the show. Thank you guys for tuning in. It is definitely an honor, privilege, and a blessing to count you all as loyal viewers and followers. If you're tracking me on Periscope, then do me a favor and hit the little guy in the lower corner so you can subscribe to the show and you get the notifications when we go live each and every morning, Monday through Friday. Also, if you're tracking with us on YouTube, then subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you can get notifications. I like to try to set my shows up 2 or 3 days in advance. We got a good show for you today with a special guest I'm super excited to tell you guys a little bit more about. But then if you're following us on Facebook, maybe you're watching the live feed inside of Facebook, that is super cool. We appreciate you, but be sure that you go over to my Facebook fan page, Financial Health Mentor. Give me a like over there and check out some of the other episodes and some of the great content that is always on that page. And then if you want to interact with the show this morning, then you do that by going over to the Financial Health Mentor news Twitter feed at Cortez Springer. So tweet me at Cortez Springer if you got questions or comments for myself or the guest of the show today. So as always, we love to start the show off with who this show is for. This show is for my risers and grinders this morning. If you woke up this morning with legacy on your mind, this show is for you. If you went to bed last night and you were thinking about what it is that you need to do to put yourself in a better place financially so that you can dream on that, so you can wake up with a vision and a plan, this show is for you. If you are the type of person that knows the importance of economic empowerment and you are doing all that you can, but maybe you just need some tips, strategies, and a game plan to help get you over the hump, to help get you out of that negative cash flow cycle, this show is for you, because that's exactly what we do. We provide practical, proven wealth building strategies to working class men and women all over this great nation of ours. Now, just like I like to say who this show is for, let me say who this show is not for. If you have a problem with me saying the word money 30 times in the last 15 seconds, I promise this show is not for you. If you are sitting back waiting for the government to fix the economy instead of trying to fix your economy, this show is not for you. If you got a problem with me letting the world know that this is what a future billionaire looks like, this show is not for you. I understand that people have some very weird relationships with money, and that's okay, but when you have those sorts of funny relationships, you tend to repel money away from you versus attracting it to you. And of course, I don't have a problem with you not wanting to be wealthy. I have a problem with you have a problem with me wanting to be wealthy, wanting to put my family in a better situation financially. So you may want to tune out if you fall into any of those categories. All right, today's show is brought to you by Billionaire Beliefs Financial Literacy Toolkit. So if you go to billionairebelief.com, you can get their financial literacy toolkit, and it will help you get a better hold of your money and how you can take your finances to another level. Like I said, a lot of us already have the discipline. A lot of us already have the desire to build wealth and get our financial house in order. Sometimes we just need the tools and a game plan to help get us there. So at Billionaire Belief, you can get a copy of their financial literacy toolkit, and it will definitely put you on the right track to get you there. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring to you a gentleman that I've been following for a while. He is actually the founder and creator of Billionaire Belief, and he is in the trenches teaching wealth building, teaching practical money management, teaching the rules and how the money game is really played so that you can play it to win. So without further ado, let me introduce to you guys founder and creator of Billionaire Belief, Mr. Dhane Diesil. How are you, brother? Give me a mic check and let's make sure we're tracking this morning.
I'm doing good, Cortez. How about yourself, my brother?
I am doing wonderful, man. Pleasure to have you on. I know it's early out there on the West Coast, man, so I appreciate you jumping up early this morning to come hang out with us. So let's get right into it, my man. Let me start off by saying this. Appreciate all the work that you do, man. I've been following you for a while, and I know that you're putting out good quality work. You're giving sound and practical strategies and tips as it relates to money and finances. But I'm always curious to know where did Billionaire Belief come from, and how did you develop that concept? Can you hear me, Dane?
Okay. Well, the year was actually 2007. The reason I felt that I knew the real world, quote unquote, without necessarily knowing I needed to be self-sufficient to survive.
Give me a second. You're breaking up on me a little bit, and I really want everybody to get this. So try it again. Try it again for me. It began in the year 2007 for me when I graduated from college. Literally, unlike most of my peers, I felt a lot more depressed than most of them, because although I was excited about graduating, I just knew that what lied ahead of me, I didn't really feel very confident that I was prepared for, specifically finances, the world of money. Like I said, I just graduated from college, and I was within 6 months, I got that first bill from my loan, and it was $500. I'm just like, damn, I don't even have a job yet. Like, how am I going to pay this? But it was still an eye opener, because I realized, like, well, the loan payments aren't going to go away. So now how am I going to do this? So it was like not feeling confident in my financial intelligence, and not necessarily having the mentality to be able to combat, the fears and the anxieties that are beatable that I was experiencing. I kind of just like you said, fell into like a state of depression. So fast forward to 2010, I was at work one day and I had an epiphany. And when I was at lunch and I saw a gentleman, an older gentleman, and for whatever reason, I was like, if I continue to just kind of like unconsciously live my life, especially when it comes to my finances, I'm going to end up like him. And this older gentleman I didn't want to be that at the end of the day. For whatever reason, when I saw this man, it was like, no shade to this older gentleman, but I think that was just the universe kicking me in the ass for the first time, saying like, get it together, because if you don't, then you're going to be like this guy. And so that was it. So 2010, I made a decision that I was going to be wealthy. I was going to be rich. And although I didn't have any clue about how I was going to do that, but what I did know was that I wanted it. I desired it. It was intense, and I was willing to pay the price of achievement to make it happen. Gotcha. I love that story, bro.
I remember going, I was like, well, I want to.
So you are the creator of what you're calling your financial literacy toolkit, and appreciate you allowing us to use that as today's sponsor. So I know that you said you started out and you didn't really have a game plan. You just had the desire to, and usually that's where it begins. When you have that desire, then you acquire the knowledge, you acquire the skill sets based on that desire to do better and have more. So tell us a little bit about that financial literacy toolkit. What's in it, and why should a working class person take a look at that toolkit and want to implement some of those strategies talked about in that toolkit in their lives?
Well, like I was saying, so how Billionaire Belief, like I said, came about, it was more so out of my just pure natural desire to want to better myself and want to improve my financial intelligence and, you know, enhance my mentality. So although, like I said, I didn't know what I wanted to do, I did know that just from playing sports, you know, model the greats. And so I was like, okay, well, who are some of the greatest financial performers? And obviously billionaires. So then I was like, okay, well, let me at least study billionaires and high net worth individuals. And then just through that alone, I should be able to take away what I'm going to need to take away so that I myself can produce similar results. And so that's just basically what I did. So with that being my concept, I said, all right, well, Billionaire Belief, that's going to be the name of the platform. Now, when it came to the actual financial literacy toolkit, it took me some years to develop that, because once I made the decision to begin Billionaire Belief, the blog, which is more so because I knew I was going to be learning new things and I wanted to be able to share. So, but I also, like you said, was still wanted to have a sense of a platform, because I was reading some stuff on internet marketing at the time. So I just decided to go the platform route. And so through that, like I said, I created the financial literacy toolkit, and that basically was based upon just me learning a very important lesson, and that was billionaires and high individuals are like religious finances, something they at a bare minimum manage their finances, but the highest performers are spending at least 2 hours a day, like, and that's just in financial planning. And so I was like, all right, well, that's just something that I'm gonna have to do. And so through that and learning like these different lessons, I was learning about just their mentality and their financial intelligence. You know, I was like, oh, like this is good. Like, let me start asking my peers, like, well, how often do you guys medicines are using? And lo and behold, although I was under the impression that it was common sense that we all have this desire to want to improve ourselves and increase our finances and establish a net worth that's constantly growing, you know, that's not the case. As you already know, a lot of people say they want to be rich, say they want to be wealthy, but the overwhelming majority of them have not made it a commitment to make it happen. And because they haven't made a commitment, it's not a necessity for them to accomplish that goal. And so that was kind of like my first eye opener, actually, because in my mind, I'm thinking like, you know, I'm learning this stuff and let me share with my peer groups, literally my friends I went to college with, because since we were all like on the same kind of like, you know, life track in a sense, we all graduated at the same time. So we was all, but little did I know that they really, like I think you touched on it, but, you know, although they wanted it, they didn't feel they needed to pay the price of achievement to make it happen. And so because of that, then I ultimately just start finding myself like by myself. And so, and being by myself, I did realize that there were other people around the world who did appreciate this information and they did value it. So I said, let me just start serving them. You know, let me start focusing on the people who want this, as opposed to trying to shove it down people's throats who say they want it but aren't willing to pay the price for it.
Right. Totally get you on that, bro. Because you know, there's a difference between what people need and what they want. We know that 3 out of 4 Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. The funny thing to me is that what we have gotten really good at, instead of getting good at fixing our money problems, we've got really good at disguising our money problems.
Exactly.
So we know that 3 out of 4 people are struggling, and we know they need this information, but they don't necessarily want it. Just like the person who needs to lose weight may not necessarily want to lose weight. So, you know, it is what it is. But I want to circle back to something. I know you got some practical tips that you want to share with the audience today, but I want to circle back to something. You said you studied not rich people, but you studied high net worth people. Elaborate down on that a little bit, because a lot of people don't get the difference between being rich and being a high net worth person.
Okay, and that's once again one of the, let me cut this line off. That was once again one of the important lessons that I was learning about the rich and wealthy, but also too now the difference between the rich and the wealthy, and that the rich people have a lot of income at a present moment in time, as wealthy people have time. And so you got a group of people who have nominal currency, and then you have people who have time. So then all right, so because just from natural, just from growing up in the world without any form of direction, you just by nature we're assumed. We're conditioned to believe that, all right, if I just have a high income, then I'll be good. But like you said, once you really start studying billionaires and high net worth individuals, you realize like it has actually zero to do with the income. It's about how much you get to keep and how much you grow in that net worth. Like all wealthy people, not rich people, but all wealthy people, all they are concerned with is, what is my net worth? Like, is that growing? Like, oh, my revenues have increased or my net profits have increased. Like, no, like, what's my net worth doing? And so, like I said, learning that, like thinking, I didn't know that before. I was just thinking that it was just all about income. And because, I thought it was all about income, and I was all about, like, I got to make it to the top 1% of income earners, which is in 2013 was, I think, somewhere around $380,000 a year. And so for years, my goal was just to, like, I need to make more income. I need to make more income. But I wasn't, ironically. A little bit here and there, and that was going up. But as far as, accomplishing that goal and making it to the top 1%, but then I came across some new game, because that's another thing you learn about billionaires. And like, for example, I was posting something last week. Guy like Warren Buffett reads 6 to 8 hours a day. A guy like Bill Gates reads 52 books a year. A guy like Mark Zuckerberg reads at least one new book every 2 weeks. And then it went on. It was just sharing how like these billionaires and these high net worth individuals, they are constantly upgrading their knowledge, constantly upgrading their game, constantly putting themselves up on game. And so, like I said, just seeing how they move and operate, it was just an adjustment to me. You know what I'm saying? If I really am serious about accomplishing this goal, I got to make some sacrifices. I got to give up who I am so that I can become the man I know that I can be. And it was very difficult, and kind of like going back to, I think, some of the truths that touched about a reason why people really don't get committed to it or don't seek value in it, and this knowledge that we're sharing, is because the fear and anxiety, that's the big thing. But the biggest thing is ultimately, like, they're non-achievers. So you got achievers and you got non-achievers. Obviously, the non-achievers are roughly 95%. And you got the achievers who are 5%. So if the achievers and the non-achievers, they do want the same things, but because the achievers are actually willing to take action, it makes the non-achievers feel very uncomfortable, because when the achievers accomplish things, now the non-achievers are left trying, well, why am I not doing it? I'm smarter than Tim. I'm smarter than Susie. At least I think I am. But why are Tim and Susie producing the results that are mine, that I deserve? But because the non-achiever just isn't willing to take action and continuously learn, that's why they are where they are. They are their problem. Like, they are their biggest challenge and an obstacle. But the non-achiever understands, like, yes, I will fail, I will win some, I will lose some, but I will never quit. And because I will never quit, I will always win. And so I'm gonna keep pushing forward. And so that was really like the biggest thing. So when it came to the toolkit, man, it was just realizing, okay, well, people, they don't, let me first just share some of these basic principles that billionaires and high net worth individuals live by, their philosophy of mind and their attitudes. And then now let's talk about just some of the basic activities that they take, that anybody can take, whether you got $1 in your bank account or $100 million in your bank account. You feel me? Like, these are just basic things. So knowing your money, optimizing your spending, and then using credit wisely. Like, those are just the 3 basic core activities that we talk about in that Billionaire Financial Literacy Toolkit. Because, like, if you're not tracking income, if you're not tracking your expenses, if you're not making sure that you are monitoring your credit scores as well as your report, then you are slipping. I'll just say that you are slipping significantly, and you are in a sense sabotaging your success.
Exactly. And that's good stuff, bro. And one of my mentors like to say it like this, that income is measured in dollars and wealth is measured in time.
Yes.
So how long can you live without an income? That determines your wealth. And I was reading, you know, the Millionaire Next Door, and they said all millionaires have a go to hell fund, meaning that they can tell you literally to go to hell because they don't need an income and can sustain their lifestyle for 10, 12, 15 years. And I thought having an emergency fund was good, but now I got to work on this go to hell fund, man. So cool. If you're just tuning in, you're checking out Talking Money in the Morning with your man H. Cortez, financial health mentor to the working class. We're sitting and chopping it up with Dhane Diesil, aka Dhane Crowley, founder of Billionaire Belief, and he's talking about his financial literacy toolkit and why, if you got a hold of that, that can put you on the fast track to becoming one of the 5%ers and getting out of that 95% where those people are not taking action. They're just running their trap about what it is that they want. But the 5% actually take action daily. They study wealth principles. They study wealthy people, and they are seeking to become high net worth earners and not just rich people, because there is a major difference. So you were talking about using credit wisely. I did a show on credit last week or maybe the week before, and how people use credit to buy junk when you can actually use credit to buy assets, things that are going to bring money back to you. So elaborate on that a little bit more and go into a little bit more detail about what the toolkit is all about, because you said it's 3 core things that you should be doing, and go ahead and touch on all 3 of those as well.
All right, so real quick, once again, like I said, there are, when it comes to just money management now, and that's pretty much the umbrella term for what we're about to discuss real quick. But it's just money management, so just tracking expenses and tracking income. But that's important because the last place you want to be at the end of the month is, where did my money go? And you not be able to answer that question because it's your money. And so, like I said, knowing your money. So like you said, tracking your expenses, tracking your income, and monitoring your reports and your credit scores, like that's key. And a simple tool that you can use to make all that happen is just using a simple personal finance software. I personally use Wave Accounting, waveapps.com, just to keep it. I like it because it has a reports feature, and I can every month and every quarter literally print out an income statement. Literally be able to go through that and see, okay, here's how much I spent on this. Here, I need to cut back on this. Oh, damn, I didn't realize I spent. Oh, I'm glad I saved it. I did cut down in this area, but so it is. You want to be able to have that conversation with yourself, because if you don't know where your money's going, then nobody else does either. And so, so you got to know your money. And then the next thing, like you said, is optimizing your spending. So basically every week I at least spend a little bit of time going through to see what my transactions were. Just seeing, where I'm at, what my earnings were, what my income, what my expenses were. But on a quarterly basis, I like to have like a little financial review where I take out my income statement for the last 3 months and just go through that thing line item by line item, seeing, okay, where my revenues did come from, as well as where that money went from an expense perspective, and see if I hit my goals from the previous quarter. And I use a 90-day money snapshot that you can download when you get the access to the toolkit. And like I said, it's just a sheet that I use more so as my 90-day scorecard. I just am able just to see what my performance was over the last 90 days. And that is important because, like you said, if you don't know, you can't watch yourself playing in the game, but it's always good to take a step back to see what your performance was like. So every 90 days, check in with yourself just to optimize your spending, like we talked about, because at the top of the year, most people get brand new gym memberships, for example, but by June, they're not in the gym, but they're still paying for the membership. If you aren't going to be, are you still paying for the membership? So we got to optimize your spending. And so it's just really going, hey, well, am I still using these services? And if I'm not, let me cancel them. If I am, all right, I'm a rock. But now going back to the third one, which is using your credit, your credit wisely. And that's important because it represents the lifeblood of our financial well-being, especially when we want to make major purchases and whatnot. So high point is key. And I didn't realize this when I graduated from college. Like nobody, ironically, I was kind of like the rich kid, quote unquote, growing up in my circles, Cortez. But even in being a rich kid, or my peers see me as rich kids, because I had some means wasn't mine. My money on the that's because, you know, them is my people, then people was assuming like, oh, well, he got it too, and that wasn't the case. But, you know, even in having all or having access to that, like my parents, they still weren't talking to me about improving my financial intelligence. So I literally was clueless about a lot of this stuff, you know, when it came to money. But like you said, I learned. And so when it came to credit specifically, you know, learning that, you know, 35% of our credit score is based upon our credit history, our credit history, I should say. So that's why it's important that they say you got to make your credit card payments on time, all the time, and do your best not to even have payments by clearing your balances every month. But you got to know that. So if you know that 35% of your score is predicated upon your payment history, then that's going to make you take that payment a little bit more seriously. If you know 30% is predicated upon your credit accounts, like do you have like car loans? Do you have just credit cards, revolving credit? Like that's important. You got to know that, because if you don't, then you think you build your credit, you're getting all these credit cards and you carrying all these balances and you missing payments every now and then, but you thinking it's because you got all these credit cards and these accounts that you making moves, you making strides, and in reality, you're probably shooting yourself in the foot. And then obviously, you know, 15% being the length of your credit history, 10% being the credit usage, and then 10% being your credit applications to your inquiries. But knowing this information is tremendously valuable to your financial well-being, because now you know, okay, I gotta make my payments. I gotta clear these balances. I gotta make sure I stay on top of this stuff. And so that's really what the toolkit is really all about. Cortez is helping just you know, anybody off the street get the bare the foundational principles and fundamentals of, you know, what I need to do from a money management perspective, so that once I get comfortable managing my money, now I can begin the real journey of wealth building, which is accumulating those assets so that I can keep a strong asset column, which is what Rich Dad Poor Dad is really all about, just making sure that you keep a strong building, keep a strong asset column, so that I can increase my net worth on an annual basis, like at least 10%, my personal goal, like you said. But into where I can, me as well as most people, as well as everybody, really, before you really can get to the place where you're in the asset stage, so that you can increase your net worth, you got to make sure you get through the transformational stage, which is going through your habits, your attitudes, your activities, specifically when it comes to money management.
Gotcha. That is good stuff, bro. So you can pick up that financial literacy toolkit by jumping over to Dane's website, billionairebelief.com. Again, billionairebelief.com. You can pick up that toolkit. Man, I knew this 30 minutes was gonna fly, bro. We're gonna have to have you on for part 2, because I've got some follow-up questions that I'd like to get into some of that stuff. But really, tracking your money, you know, that is very, very important. Making sure that every dollar has a specific target, and then going back, like you said, I love that 90-day snapshot where you're saying, okay, every dollar had a target, but when I take that 90-day snapshot, I can see that some of those dollars missed their target and ended up in some junk or somewhere that I didn't want them to go. So that is super key, guys. Get your financial literacy toolkit over at billionairebelief.com. That is the sponsor of today's show. Dane, my man, it's been a pleasure and a privilege to have you on. Go ahead, and in 30 seconds, we got to wrap up, but let them know how they can get in touch with you.
Okay, it's real simple. Everything is at Billionaire Belief. You can go billionairebelief.com, I should say. You can go there, go to the contact page, and that's going to probably be your best bet. You can email me. I'll get the email straight on my phone. It comes right to my hip. I always got this with me. So if you have any questions about anything, feel free to, like I said, and I'm available, Cortez, just like you are. And so, ladies and gentlemen, like, you should not feel fear or anxiety about wanting to better yourself. And the day that you get okay with feeling okay that other people aren't okay with you being wealthy is the day that your life will change, you know, like, because that's really the only thing stopping most of you from taking advantage of the value that Cortez and I are bringing to help you learn new things, to help you solve these problems that we all have, because we all got to deal with money, we all got to deal with finances. So don't put your head in the sand and thinking that it's just go pass by. No, it's not going anywhere, because when you pop your head out, you're still gonna have to deal with the consequences. So the same money problems.
Exactly.
Let's make sure that we do what we need to do to make it happen.
Awesome, awesome. So yeah, we definitely got to do a part 2, bro. Guys, you've been checking out
So everything's that
Tracking
billionaire
with H. Cortez, financial health mentor to the working class, with my man Dane Diesil, aka Dane Crowley, a billionaire. Believe, talking about practical money management skills. Tomorrow's show is going to be another burner. I have another special guest. My man from Rich Minded is going to be on, talking about the importance of entrepreneurship. And it is our opinion that entrepreneurship is a new retirement plan. So if you don't know anything about entrepreneurship, you definitely want to tune in to tomorrow's show, 7 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. It was a pleasure, Dane. And as I say on every episode, I want you guys to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. I'm out. Peace.
Peace. Build wealth or else.